Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VIII. We have a date with Quistis. We should not be late for our date with Quistis. She might not be happy with us. Okay, so Quistis told us to meet her at the front gate, which is this way. Out. I'm kind of hungry too. But this is no time for hot dogs. We have a date. A lot of walking to get to the front gate here. Okay, so you might notice this pink shimmering stuff over here. We'll come back to that in a moment. First, we gotta go see Quistis. It is important. There she is. She's not in uniform anymore. A few things to explain before we head off, okay? GF gives us strength. The stronger the GF, the stronger we become. GF is short for Guardian Force. And this basically starts a series of tutorials on the use of Guardian Forces. We are going to skip this. Because frankly, we don't need it. I already know what I'm doing. Once we get to the Fire Cavern, I'll explain how to junction magic. That leads to another tutorial. Use the command draw during battle and stock magic from your enemies. Be sure to have some stocked. Yes. Ready to go? Certainly. Fire Cavern is used for the test that is located east of here. Okay. So Quistis is now in our party. So here's the deal. Guardian Forces are powerful creatures that, for whatever reason or another, attach themselves, metaphysically, to seed members to give them more strength. They're one. The protagonist and the Guardian Force. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the junction command. I'm going to pick Squall here. And we want to junction a Guardian Force. Pretty easy. We can choose Quetzalcoatl or Shiva. I'm going to go ahead and go with Shiva just because I'm strange like that. Then you can also junction magic to various stats, such as your hit points, your strength, vitality, all that fun stuff. At this time, we have no magic to junction. Guardian Forces confer abilities upon the players, other than being able to use magic or junction stuff to their stats. So, we can do, say, draw. I will explain how that works in a second. Guardian Force. And let's use item because that's kind of important. Now these two sections here are for passive abilities that you don't have to select to use. These ones here you select to use during battle. You'll see more of that here in a bit. Let's go ahead and go to Quistis. I could have done that from the same menu. You can just use the shoulder keys, but I completely forgot that, so I apologize. We'll give her Quetzalcoatl. Since Squall has item, we'll give her magic. You almost always want to have draw available. So here's what we do. Now, dear. Yeah, you wait right there. Remember the little pink particle effect that was going on over here? It looks kind of like a fountain. This is a draw point. If you have a Guardian Force junctioned, and if you don't, you can't use this. Walk up to it, press X, and voila, you can find magic. Who will draw? Squall. Alright, now we've got 6 uses of the magic cure. That is useful. Let's go back to Quistis here, because we gotta get to the Fire Cavern here. Got work to do. Okay. And here we have the overworld. So we're heading east to the Fire Cavern. You notice that the camera is really frustrating. Back in the early days of PlayStation gaming, You didn't use the right analog stick to control the camera, but the shoulder keys, which is what we have to do here. A little frustrating. The camera tends to center behind the player, but using the shoulder keys you can gain at least a little bit of control of that. And here we have our first battle. Squall, you still remember? The R1 is the trigger. Pull it just as you strike. Same for the Renzokuken. So Squall is wielding what is called a gunblade. When you're using a gunblade to attack, if you pull the right trigger at the right time, you can do more damage. I failed to do so at that time. Now, of course, let's finish this thing off. Or try to, at least. Ugh. If you get it right, you usually get a vibration, but I don't think I'm getting that this time. I'll have to check that out here in a minute. So that was a random encounter. Basically, as you're walking around in the overworld, you will be randomly attacked by monsters. Beating them confers upon you experience, both for yourself and for your guardian forces. Your guardian forces can become more powerful that way. And you can get items, and sometimes money, which is good. Of course, this also means that you're going to get attacked by monsters all the time while just walking around. That will get a little bit tedious, because it is necessary to do this in order to become more powerful and to gain more magic. Okay, I guess I was doing it right, it's just not vibrating the controller. So basically running around fighting minor monsters is one of the best ways to get more powerful, as well as a few other things. Of course, this also becomes incredibly tedious later in the game. This is a practice known as experience grinding, mainly because it's a grind to continue to do so. Now you're probably thinking, do we have to watch all this experience grinding for hours and hours and hours? The answer is no. I will be doing most of this off screen to save you guys a little bit of tedium, except for maybe certain battles and of course the bosses. With that said, a little bit later on, we're going to acquire the ability to negate any possibility of random encounters, but that won't come for a little bit. So now we've seen a little bit of battle, let me show you how to draw magic from enemies. This is probably the most tedious practice in the entire game. Using the draw command, you can select a monster and choose one of the spells it has available to take. You can either cast the spell immediately, or you can stock a few copies of it. As Questus does here with some blizzards. Hey, blizzard's good. We might need that here a little bit. Character can hold up to 100 uses of any particular spell. Which means, in order to get 100 uses of any particular spell, you have to draw over and over and over again. And this greatly increases the amount of time you spend in battle. This game has been much maligned for this particular system because it made battle incredibly tedious and way overlong. Now there are other ways to get magic, but starting out, this is really the best way. So it takes a long time to get a full stock of powerful spells, and you need a full stock of powerful spells in order to increase your stats. We'll see a little bit more of that a little bit later as well. Let's get a few cures, and then I'll go ahead and take this guy out. It's never bad to have a full stock of cure. Now, other things you can do during battle include summoning your Guardian Force to do battle for you. In this case, we're going to go ahead and summon Shiva and see if she can, Convince this monster not to hurt us anymore. One other thing that this game is known for, and most Final Fantasy games in general, are the incredibly long summoning animations. This is one of the shorter ones. It's also known for Shiva not wearing very much in the way of clothing. Most gamers do not mind this. Unfortunately, he was resistant to ice. That's a bummer. You can see this is taking a long time. This is why I intend to off-screen a vast majority of this. Let's go ahead and summon Quetzalcoatl and see what he does. I'll show you all the summoning animations at least once, but we will not be relying on them primarily. Thunderstorm, sounds good. It's not low comfortable. Unfortunately, it did not take it out, so we're going to have to do this the hard way. Now, the more you use summons, and the more often you get experience for them in battle, the more powerful they will become, and the more attuned they'll become to a particular character. If they're more attuned to a particular character, they will cast faster, and thus can attack more often. Again, not a big deal since we won't be strictly relying on them too much, but there are a couple of summons that will be very critical to our overall success, especially later in the game. So we'll be trying to get them as attuned as possible to a specific character so that we can utilize them to their fullest effect. So that, folks, is a basic rundown of battle, drawing magic, and the overall tedium level of Final Fantasy VIII. So, I could go to the Fire Cavern right now, but what I'm going to do instead is grind out a whole bunch of magic and get a little experience and make these guys just a little bit more powerful before heading in there. I think that's a worthwhile endeavor. But I'm not going to make you watch that. So, next time on Let's Play Final Fantasy VIII, we head into the Fire Cavern. I will see you then.